test. Hello everybody, another episode of The Devil Storyteller. If you've been watching tonight, you might have seen me go live stream a couple of times trying to get this sorted out because I'm still trying to find proper recording software and editing software. So it's been rocky trying to generate a video tonight. Just as a result, I've been rambling more than I've been focusing. And I'd rather put my best foot forward for this effort if I could. As you can see behind me, I still have Aurora in the background, my friend Aurora. I'm still working on set dressing, still working on set design, but I'm also, like I said in the last video, I'm thinking about just leaving that behind and just using this background or something very simple, because I want to put away the high production values idea and just relate to you as just another fan in the community, as just somebody who's out there that you might meet at a LARP or meet at a convention. You know, just kind of pull aside all the smoke and mirrors and just be authentic as possible, with all the warts and bumps that go with it, including my stumbling, stammering, and rambling attempts at capturing a live video for your entertainment. It's a work in progress. I'm new to this. Bear with me if you could. I ask for mercy. I know some of you have a humanity of 2 or 3, but I'm going to ask for mercy anyway. Come on, we're all vampire players here, not all of us. At any rate, what I wanted to talk to you about tonight was the collaborative experience of storytelling. A lot of players and storytellers are lost on this, and the core of it, and it's probably be a quick video for this, it's about collaboration. White Wolf games, in particular, better than any other game that I'm personally aware of, stress the idea that the narrative is important. You don't play to win, you play to feel, as Vampire 5th Edition put it. I can't underscore that enough. This is not about having a 4th generation gangrel who's 10,000 years old with all of your disciplines set at max and how awesome and badass you think that is. That has got to be the most boring character concept I can think of. I want to see a 13th generation neonate with half of his blood gone with 2 aggravated wounds, fleeing from a vampire hunter 5 minutes before dawn. That's a story. That's a story I want to hear. A lot of people miss that, you know, a good story isn't about how easily you can destroy your opposition. That's a lullaby. What you want is conflict. Why can't you destroy your opposition? What's stopping you from doing so? What are your challenges? Why do you risk failure? And in a game like Vampire, which is the centerpiece of my experience, you know, this is a game based around everything going wrong. You know, everybody wants to kill you. You don't have many authentic friends. You're as damned and cursed as they get. I mean, if you want damnation bingo, that's most of the row right there. And in these stories are about telling the experience of these characters, telling their saga, telling their arc from start to finish, you know, having actual narrative goals, not a body count. A body count is not a narrative goal. It's about taking them on a journey that we empathize with and we feel something about by the time we get to an end. Now that can be done with 1 player at a table, it can be done with 6 players at a table. It's really a question of, and this is the important part of the video tonight that I want to stress, collaboration. The storyteller and the players are not adversaries, and if you're in a situation where that's happening, get out of it. You need to find people who can give energy to you and take energy back. You need to be able to tell stories to each other. Each one of you at the table is a vice storyteller, so to speak, a secondary storyteller. You are telling stories to the guy behind the screen just as much as he's telling it to you. You control your one character and their reactions. He may control the rest of the set and the narrative, but the 2 of you together are interlocking to create one experience that you can talk about later and feel amazing about. Many, many moons ago, I don't care to think about how long, because let's just say it was in the 20th century. Bear with me here, I'm not a spring chicken, you can see that. I had a horrible, horrible player who was one of the most selfish, brutally subversive players that I've ever had. And in fact, to this day, I've never had one worse. He was really, really selfish, very, very childish, prone to tantrums, subversive, controlling. He talked shit about the game behind our back. He wanted to do Mage the Ascension instead of Vampire, so he tried to sabotage the game for everybody else, and he copped to that he had numerous sabotage attempts to try and bring it down because he wanted to do something else. As if we would just form into a single file line and follow him off to Mage gratefully after what he did. He was endlessly disruptive, just endlessly abominable in and out of character about the game. I've actually been in Nightmare Gamer Tale threads around the net over the last 20 years, and I've actually described point by point things that he's done, and I've actually won 3 threads because he was that extreme. Now somebody's going to ask, very reasonably, by the way, why did you put up with this guy for so long? You said you've been doing this with him for years. At the time, his wife was a gamer, and his wife wasn't bad. And nobody wanted to punish his wife by ousting him, because if we ousted him, she would go too, and nobody wanted to see her punished for his sins. So our hands were tied. We were trying to take the high road. I have spent so much time and energy in my life trying to convince this guy that this is a collaborative effort, and he was not the star. He was not the center of the universe. But for him, that's what gaming was. Gaming was his escape from his inadequacy in life, I would think. He loved playing super godlike characters that had no real point, no real arc, no real definition. They were just godlike beings, gaudy god beings, with a little shoehorn of God in and maybe a sprinkling of God on the side. And of course, in the games that he ran for himself and his wife, it was literally the two of them in the game as gods. So already, you know what we're dealing with. After several years of this, trying to impress upon him that this was a collective effort and to think about other players and their enjoyment, in addition to his own, which he never did. He had no empathy for the table at all. We finally got around to doing Mage the Ascension. And the players were having a great time, and they were all collaborating. They were all creating this pooled experience with atmosphere, flavor, depth. It was going great. Except for him. He played a vulgar, blatant attention whore character that talked to the players in gibberish for no reason at all. Used spectacular, vulgar, over-the-top magic when they were trying to be subtle. And he just put all sorts of ridiculous things into his character just to be the attention whore in the room. And this got so bad that the players during a break actually pulled me outside and voted him out of the game unanimously. They were done dealing with it, and so was I. And that was the very last time I ever gamed with the guy. The game convened a week later someplace else. We didn't even tell him about it. We kept going from there. And, you know, I didn't want to put the wife in that position. She later, on her own terms, alienated herself from me, and I won't talk about that. It's not a game issue. Nobody wanted to punish her for it, but in the end we just couldn't deal with it anymore. You know, everybody's enjoyment was suffering because of his childish need to wrap everything tightly around himself. And that's the moral of the story, and it plays into what I was talking about in the first part of the video, is that this is an ensemble cast, okay? Every player is a storyteller in and of themselves, and the storyteller himself is actually a player. The game is going to be best when you blur those lines. Yeah, you got a guy behind the screen who's coordinating everything, but talented players will tell him a story that will knock his socks off too, which is why I've been behind the screen for 27 years. I love that. I absolutely love that. The game group I'm in right now has just 2 players in it. You know, my friend Dan, who had some great ideas about the channel. Hey Dan, how you doing? Our friend Matt, who hosts the game at his place, and it's just the 2 of us at the moment. Occasionally his wife, Matt's wife, who's also incredible. And it's just the 3 of us trading the energy back and forth, you know, we're almost like theater kids doing improv, but it works, and it's fun, and it's satisfying. It's just an amazing expression of entertainment when everybody's on the same page and everybody understands the collaborative process. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, is there a wrong, bad, fun way to do the game? Well, if you're doing it and having fun, that's great. I'm not going to tell you what's right and wrong per se. But you have to be conscious about how everyone else in the group is going and how they're feeling. You're not just there to satisfy yourself, you want to satisfy them. Can you get the player on the other end of the table from you to gasp and think dramatic thoughts about what you're doing, be impressed by your story turns? Can you make everybody else at the table just look at you and applaud because you did something brilliant and creative, without having to resort to being an attention whore, without trying to subvert or destroy anything or pull too much into yourself? That's the question. That's when you take gaming and take it from a troublesome sort of burden in your life and turn it into a kind of a form of art. Because this guy had me wanting to burn my books, and I actually got rid of a 260 book collection once, quitting gaming because he was one of the factors. Obviously I went back. But, you know, the more you learn. I would never tolerate that now, and I don't even let people like that within 10 feet of my table anymore. I'd hate to say it, I know it sounds elitist, but you can only go through so much abuse. You can only go through so much grief and stress and gut-wrenching abuse before there's simply no making peace with it. You just have to move on. So I get to the move on part a lot faster these days. Well, in future videos, I want to discuss things like Mage the Ascension. Somebody wanted me to talk about Seekings. I think that's a great idea because Seekings, I have great ideas about how you can approach Seekings for that. There's some stuff about Vampire the Masquerade I'd like to cover because that's my big sailboat right there. I'm going to talk about RP habits, storyteller do's and don'ts, player do's and don'ts, and of course the one-on-one games that I want to host and show here for your entertainment pleasure. I do voices and acting on the side, so, I try to be as entertaining a storyteller as I can for the people. And the channel's in its infancy, we're obviously a bargain basement operation right now, but we're starting out, and that's okay. Like I said, I'd rather try for authenticity over high production values and fancy costumes and what have you. There are other channels you can go to for that. I think the beauty of mine is that you can just sit back and run this in the background where you're doing anything else in the net, and it'll be fine. You won't be missing anything. I'm going to give Aurora here another shout out since I once again used her as a background this week. She's a big supporter of the channel, by the way. If you'd like to catch up to her artwork and her other material, on Instagram she's Aurora_O'Brien. She has a fan page on Instagram which is adventuring_muse, and she's got a website, AuroraO'Brien.com, where she sells her artwork and modeling. So power to her. Special call out to Dan. Dan, you have some great ideas about how to promote and host this thing, and I may consult with you for more information soon. I like what you had to say at game the other night. So let's keep comparing notes on that and how to upgrade this experience. I'd really appreciate your assistance with that. But the call out to you. You and Matt are two of the best gamers I've got. No questions asked. So I'm going to sit back and sip some of this wine here. It's been sitting here going to room temperature as I've been talking. And I'm signing off on The Devil's Hourglass, or The Devil's Storyteller tonight. The Devil's Hourglass is my novel, by the way. You can find it on Amazon. That's it for now, and catch you guys later. Truth until Paradox. Watch out for the prince. The sheriff is an asshole. You get the idea. And if you have anything you'd like me to talk about as far as storytelling experience goes, be more than free to tell me what it is. Comment here, shoot me a line on the other forums that this is hosted on, whatever you like, but let me know what you want to see. Let me know what you want to see discussed, and we'll go there. I want to make this a page that's a cooperative element as well, and you are part of that cooperative, so let's collaborate. Until next time.